Panther fans, get ready for a deep dive with All-22 because
the film don't lie.
I think y'all getting acting credit for that line right there.
That's right.
This is Mike Kraft along with Panther legends Mike Rucker and Kevin Donnalley. And guys, it is Shark Week here on All-22. And you know them Sharks I'm talking about. You got Drew Brees and the New Orleans Saints coming to town to face the Carolina Panthers. And guess what? Next week, guess who we got? Tom Brady. So,
Detroit right after that.
Hey, you got quarterbacks galore. And let's start right now with Drew Brees. I call him a master of deflection. This guy is so dishonest in the pocket. Rucker, talk about what he does to defenses.
Well, I mean, he's a veteran, right? And a lot of times people think veteran, oh, he's played a number of years. No, a veteran in my eyes means that he has seen a lot of defenses. You're not going to trick him with a lot of disguises. And one of the plays that we looked at was, you know, he'll look you off. He'll make you think he's going to the right side of the field, and he holds the safety, right, just long enough that when he comes back to the guy on his left side running a go route, that he catches the ball. And the safety does not have enough time to get over the top and help him. But it all is set up just because of where his eyes are at. Right, and if the DB's eyes, if he's cheating in the backfield, which he does, reading his eyes, then he can't get over the top. And I think that's what makes Drew Brees so good, is that next time he might just throw the ball to where he's looking at. Then next time, no, I'm going to go the opposite side. I think that's what makes him so good.
Yeah, and I think, when you look at it and you're looking at his eyes and they do lie to you. They're not telling you where he's going to go because, like he said, sometimes he's looking someone off. Sometimes he knows exactly where he wants to go. Some other play, another play that we looked at with the Saints was the fact that this guy can get set up very quickly and get the ball out in about 2 seconds or less. In one particular play, he was able to, with two wide receivers to the right, two defenders over those receivers, and the way they set up the route, jammed up one of those cornerbacks back there, and it allows the receiver that was off the line of scrimmage to kind of find where he needs to go with it. And Brees is going to read this. He's going to look out there. He's going to see which one appears to be getting open the quickest, and it's not a very long throw, but it's wide open, and the yards after the catch really make it a significant play. And so when you see it, you don't really care what the offensive line's doing. You don't care what the running back's doing. All those other guys are meaningless. It's this two-man combination they have set up to his right side that he's able to just get the ball out so quick. And that's what the Panthers are going to have to be really on point with, is that sometimes he's looking off things, and it takes a while to develop. Other times, it's just a grab, throw it, get it down the field, and it ends up being a big play.
Almost like he's a basketball point guard running a fast break on grass. A lot of times that's the feel you get with him, isn't it?
Yeah, he can just distribute the ball about anywhere he wants to go. He knows where all these guys are at the same time, and I think for him it's a pre-snap read almost. What's my best option? And he's going to get it to his playmakers.
Well, I tell you, when we look at this matchup, Cam Newton coming back, Kevin, I want to get your opinion. We know his comeback from shoulder surgery is a work in progress.
Yeah, and I think when you look from the first game to the second game with Cam Newton, he did increase his completion percentage. The first game, there was an interception. This game protected the ball very well. And I would even add in the pocket, because with all the pressure that was getting dumped on him with 6 sacks in the game, how many times have we seen in the past where one of those is a sack fumble? And that ball's loose and probably the other team's jumping on it and sets him up with some great field position. I was impressed that, he was taking a beating back there. He had some tough moments with the protection, but he was able to hold on to the rock, keep possession of it in a game where turnovers would have been the difference. With that type of defense that was playing on both sides, possession of the ball was the most crucial thing. So I see some slight improvements. It's not where he wants to be yet, but I saw a nice step forward from week 1 to week 2.
No doubt. And Ruck, when you look at it, some great throws in that game.
He did. He had some good throws. And when you also take a step back and what Kevin was talking about, the defense that they played, there was times it looked like it was the Panther defense where they were mugging the linebackers up in the A gap, right? So, Coach McDermott knew what pressures and what spots to try to really put the pressures on this offense. And sometimes it really worked in the blitz package. But there was times where you saw Cam that in training camp, you would see him working with Coach Shula where he would take his drop, step up in the pocket, and then release left and right. And you saw that at times, and I thought that was another positive thing that, again, this league you need to be consistent, but there was times where I saw it, and it really worked. And I thought that he spread the ball, especially in the first quarter, really well to all the receivers. You got a lot of talent out there. And, Kelvin Benjamin, he got the ball to him one time on a slant, and he just literally drugged the defenders 9 yards after contact. There was 3 of them. That you can't teach. And so those are the things that I really feel like were some positive moments in this game.
When you start looking at the start across the league of quarterbacks, it's been kind of a rough start. And I ran some stats looking at QBR. I know it's a little early in the season, but when you look at the guys who've had over 20 completions, right now, Cam is in the middle of the pack. And I'm telling you, Drew Brees is right there as well. And you look at some of the names, Joe Flacco, some of the guys who are having a start right now that's a little bit nervy. It's because defenses are playing very well across the board. Would you guys agree?
I would, and it's usually the formula where defenses do start out hot early in the season, and offenses take a little while for that chemistry. But overall, this seems to be a year where the offenses are starting particularly slow. Scoring is down. There's not as many big plays, or you look at the highlights going on after the game on Sunday night, you're not seeing those where guys are getting beat deep. I think these defenses are playing sound. They've continually worked to get better, and some of the wrinkles that have come from the college game that have kind of gone up to the pro game to try and get some extra yards and misdirection, speeding up, the play calling, things like that. These defenses are catching up overall, and then particularly this season, they're starting out fast. There's some good defenses out there. It's going to be an interesting year to watch.
Well, pick up on that thought, Ruck, because we're talking about the Panthers defense, and right now, oh my.
Wow. I tell you what, and Pep, he feels like, he said this week that he feels like this is the best defense he's played on.
Did that hurt your feelings?
No. No, because, again, we talk about the film don't lie. It doesn't. When you turn it on.
The film don't lie.
And you look at the stats, in 2 games, and it's only 2 games, but that's what we have to go off of, they haven't been scored on, right? There's been turnovers where they come in and they handle their business. That's what a defense is called upon to do, is to keep teams out of the end zone. If your team fumbles on the 20 and they go down the field and they're going to kick a field goal and you keep them out of the end zone on a turnover or whatever have you, that's your purpose. And this defense has really been just balling. And, one play in particular, I remember it was like a bunch of bees just swarming. Kirk Coleman, they come down an 8-man box. It's 4th and 1. You got McCoy back there who should easily be able to breathe and wake up in the morning and get a yard.
That's right.
Right? He should wake up out of bed and get a yard. Well, they stymied him, right? He's just been confused all game. And in this play in the 4th and 1, you had Kirk Coleman down in the B gap, and then you had Mario Addison on the outside. And it was just a little quick pitch outside, which had a lot of room. They ran the corner off, and Kirk Coleman overplayed over the top. But Thomas Davis just comes screaming into the picture. And at the end of the play, all 3 guys have a touch on McCoy for it wasn't even a gain. So he either lost a little bit or at the line of scrimmage, and that's a swarming defense.
No doubt, and I'll add to that. That's a snapshot of one play of how this defense has gone. But to me, what I'm seeing these first 2 weeks, Mike, and I think you can attest to this, is starting up front. We talk about our front 4 and how dominant they are, but they're setting a new line of scrimmage. When I watch the film, the offensive line's trying to set the new line of scrimmage, push those guys a yard off the ball, and then let the back or the quarterback do what he has to do. This defensive line's pushing the offensive line back a yard, and it's like a new starting line of scrimmage. They're starting in the negative. And when you get that, plus I think better play by the corners because they're in their second year, all right? Those guys are doing a little bit better job, and they'll keep getting better as they get more experience. And then you combine that with some of the depth that we're able to run in and out of there, especially on that defensive line.
Yeah.
I mean, your second defensive line I saw in the game against the Bills, you got Wes Horton, Kyle Love, Vernon Butler, and Pep's rolling in there.
Yeah.
Peppers is rolling in with that group, and you're like, wow, what a stout group, and they were doing just as well. So overall, the picture I'm seeing is just a dominant defense that in all phases is doing their job.
Well, we will certainly see them challenged against the New Orleans Saints fans. We are out of time, but remember, if it happens inside the line, we'll talk about it right here on All-22 because
the film don't lie.
We'll see you next time.